Hello, Hollywood Times viewers, Judy Shields here. Today we welcome singer-songwriter, country music singer-songwriter, James Dupré. Hi, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Where are you dialing in from?
I am currently in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Very good. How's the weather down there?
Oh, hot as usual, but thankfully it's fall now, so it should be cooling off a little bit soon.
So down there, do you guys get that humidity?
A lot, yeah. And this summer has been especially brutal. I mean, it was just triple digits like for at least a month straight. It was just brutal, yeah.
Ooh, yuck. Yeah, we have heat here. You know, we get 110, 112 up there, but we don't have that humidity, so I don't know how.
Right, yeah. You factor in the humidity. It was just impossible just to go outside. I mean, it was like a pretty boring summer. We stayed in the air condition most of the time.
Oh my goodness. Well, we want our listeners and our viewers to know that you were named one of Rolling Stone magazine's country artists you need to know. And boy, that's true.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean that was just so cool when Rolling Stone did that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the other big milestone that I can't imagine, being a fan of the Grand Ole Opry is you making your Grand Ole Opry debut. And that happened what, like on September 14th?
September 14th. Yeah.
Explain that to us. What was that like?
Amazing. I mean, for lack of a better word, I guess. I've always thought that my goal or like success defined in country music is being able to play on the Grand Ole Opry. And, I feel like I've waited forever for that to happen. And it actually did happen. And I just couldn't believe it. It was, I knew about it like 6 weeks in advance. And every single day I was just thinking about it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going to happen, And then when the day came, when I first stepped into the circle, it was during sound check. And I just had to I stood there for a moment and just took a deep breath, and I was like, I can't believe this is really happening. But it was so cool.
Because I would imagine, a lot of entertainers I speak to say they're nervous. Even to this day, they go out in there and perform on stage, but to be there at the Grand Ole Opry. I understand that the Gatlin Brothers were there, the Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, how amazing is that to have, folks like that be there too, right?
Right. Yes. Especially, it was hosted by Larry Gatlin actually, and
Okay.
and I didn't realize how funny of a guy he was. He's like a comedian, but yeah, it was really cool. Because I listened to a lot. I grew up listening to country music, and to be able to share that stage on the same night with those guys, and Scotty McCreery was also there too. That was really cool meeting him, and just all the nice things that they said. Larry, after my performance, Larry basically said, "Welcome home," which I thought was just such a huge gesture. So yeah, it was just an amazing night.
And then the Oak Ridge Boys, they're legends. They're getting ready to start, or they've already just started their 50th anniversary tour, their farewell tour. It's sad
That's
to
right.
know
Yeah.
it's going to be farewell. And what was it like?
Yeah.
Like, did you get to meet William Lee Golden? I just love the fact that he's got that long beard and long hair.
Yeah, well, we were backstage around the same time, but I didn't actually get to meet any of those guys because we were just
Yeah.
in passing basically. But yeah, unfortunately.
And was that the first time you had been there at all in backstage? Or
No, I have. I went one time. My first time, I was actually in the audience,
okay.
and then the other time, I was there like 3 or 4 other times, side stage with Randy Travis.
Okay.
And basically, if you go with Randy, you can pretty much stand anywhere.
Yeah, let's also talk about you and Randy Travis and his wife Mary. How did that's kind of how this all started. Talk about that and your friendship.
Yeah. Well, initially we had the same producer, and this was like 10 years ago. Kyle Lenning, he produced my first album, and he did all of Randy's stuff throughout his career. And so Kyle kind of introduced us briefly at one of Randy's shows. It was in 2011. And so a year later, fast forward, completely unrelated, this lady from Dallas sends me an email and says she wrote a script for a short film and wanted to know if I wanted to play a role in it. And I was like, man, that sounds awesome, but I'm not an actor. You know, I don't know why you thought of me, but she said, well, I love your YouTube videos and you look very comfortable in front of the camera, and I think you would be really good. And she said, also, we have Randy Travis secured as the lead role. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah, so count me in. And about 2 months later, I was there in Texas filming, and on the set with Randy, and it was just an amazing thing to meet him, and he remembered me from the previous year, which I was really excited about, and working with him on the movie, and just he's a great actor as well. He showed me the ropes and things like that, and just really made me feel comfortable. And I was always so grateful, for that. And unfortunately, about 2 months after that is when Randy had his stroke, and so the movie never really. We ended up finishing it later, but it had to be completely rewritten because he wasn't able to finish his part. So anyway, it's called The Price. If you were interested in that.
Price. Okay, well, look that up. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, it was a very sad day to hear that when that happened to him, and we all love that he's getting back out there, and going to things, and we're all very happy for that, because he's an amazing guy. I actually was one of his big time groupies back in the day. Oh yeah, he was here in LA a lot, and I was in a couple of his videos, and I was helping with his fan club, and oh yeah, I just loved him to death, and probably drove him crazy. Him and his first wife.
he loves his fans though.
He does.
From what I've gathered, like he really just will spend so much time with them, and taking pictures, and it's just really cool to see, really inspiring.
It really is. So, well, let's kind of talk about your growing up. When did you discover your voice? Do you play any instruments? Let's talk about you growing up. And was it there in Louisiana that you grew up?
Yeah, I grew up in a little community called Bayou Chico, Louisiana, and it's actually about an hour north of here in Lafayette. So I grew up listening to a lot of country music, of course, but a lot of other different styles of, James Taylor was especially popular in my house. The Eagles, and a lot of Journey, a lot of like the 80s rock and stuff like that. So I really kind of listened to all of it, and then it wasn't really until I got into high school and some of my friends introduced me to country music, or to some older country music, like George Jones, Merle Haggard, which I really didn't listen to a whole lot of before then. And then I was completely hooked. I remember listening to Amanda by Waylon Jennings for the first time, and I was like, this is just, it's all like vocal, just such a unique, powerful vocal. And that's really what got me into country. Yeah.
Wow. And then I read also that you were a YouTube sensation back in like 2007. Talk about that.
Yeah, so YouTube was kind of new back then, and I was in college, and I had just learned how to play guitar in college, and I was very shy about performing, but I joined a band as a backup singer, and so I really didn't feel like the spotlight was on me, and so it was kind of a good way to ease into it. And then I basically just decided I'm not going to go to college anymore. I'm going to just stick to music, and so I quit college, and my dad basically said, well, son, if you got to get a job if you're not going to go to school. And so I became a paramedic. And while I was doing that, my dad's a paramedic. So it was kind of like a natural thing, I guess, for me to do that. And then YouTube, I basically just one day, I'm going to video myself doing this new Tim McGraw song, If You're Reading This. And I put it out on YouTube, and I like the next day I got like a bunch of comments from people from all over the world, and I was like, man, this is really neat. So I just kept doing it. And fast forward like 3 years, and I'm on the Ellen show because of my YouTube videos. And yeah, it was just basically YouTube really opened up my career and got everything kind of going.
Yeah. And then you had your debut album 2010, It's All Happening. How was that, having like your first album?
Yeah, so Kyle Lenning, like I said earlier, produced that along with Jerry Douglas, major big-time dobro player. They both just basically started looking for songs, outside songs from some of their songwriter friends. And I also had a few originals that I wanted to throw into the pot, and they picked two of them, which I was very happy about. But yeah, it was just being in the studio that first time, and just, you know, being able to work with incredible producers for my very first time. And this was even before I even moved to Nashville. So I was just really in this completely whirlwind type of experience. I didn't really like, I just would be pinching myself all day long, you know? And, but it came out, and then Warner Brothers was interested in me. And so I ended up getting a record deal with them for a few years. Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it. Wow. Oh my gosh. So what was it like meeting Ellen? You know, she's gone and retired now. What was that like for you?
Just so cool. I mean, that was like it was my first time in LA, and just
Wow.
being on that set, and just, you, like I said, again, whirlwind, you know. I remember I had, you know, having my name on my dressing room, and John Corbett from Sex and the City was also on the show, and Miley Cyrus was on the show whenever she was, I think she was still like 16 or 17 at the time. But it was just like, what am I doing here? You know, this is so crazy. And she was funny. Ellen was just as funny as she is on TV. She was just really, she came in my room right before and just really introduced herself as if I didn't know who she was. And, you know, just made me feel really comfortable, you know, before the show, because obviously I was very nervous.
Very cool. So I normally ask everybody, because it was a different time in our life, what did you do during the pandemic with your career? What could you do?
Yeah, that was interesting, because we were already kind of in the works of making my new album. And so when the pandemic happened, we were like, well, do we just put it off, or do we continue moving forward? And we decided to move forward. So basically we had already had all the songs picked out. It was just to get in the studio and do them, but we were socially distancing. And so for pretty much the entire album, my producer, Matt McCreery, he basically just produced all of the other musicians from their own home studios via, you know, and the internet. I don't know how they hooked that up. I guess maybe Zoom.
Zoom, probably, yeah. We all learned about Zoom then.
Yeah. And I was very skeptical about it at first, because I was like, I don't know how you're gonna, you know, do all this just by yourself in here with no actual musicians in the room, you know. And he's like, well, it's gonna be an experiment, so here we go, and it works.
Well, that's pretty cool.
We put out my latest album. It's called Home and Away, and it came out the summer of 2020.
Very good. And then when did you get to go back out on the road? Was it 2021 that you got to go out and entertain?
Yeah, we went back out the summer of 21. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also during that time, I should mention that it was an amazing time for me to be home, because in September of 19, my daughter was born. So I got to stay home with her a lot during those times. So that was really special.
Did I read correctly that you have 5 children?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have 4 boys from my first marriage, and then Relly came along like almost 10 years later.
Oh, you have 4 sons, huh? How old are they now?
Yeah, 17, 16, 15, and 13.
Well, at least they're all kind of close in age.
Yeah, and they're all like basically in high school now, so it's good times.
They must love having a baby sister now. She's gonna be so spoiled.
Oh yeah, and they love her, and she loves them. It's really fun to see them together.
Yeah, I have 2 sons and 3 grandsons, so I got like 5 of us, and then my daughter-in-law and me. So there's, you know, the 5 boys and us 2 girls. So
good times.
Well, congratulations on your little baby girl.
Thank you.
That's so cool. Do any of your sons sing or play any instruments?
Yeah, they dabble. You know, it's hard to get them interested, fully invested, I guess, right now, which I can understand, because I did not have the patience for guitar until I was, like I said, I was in college.
Yeah.
I tried when I was a teenager, and it was like, no, this is too hard. I'm not doing this. You know? So
Yeah, that's on my bucket list, is to learn how to play a guitar. So I did get a good acoustic, so now I just gotta try to figure out how to play. You know?
yeah, and what I've realized is that once you reach a certain level, then it's pretty much like easy after. Not easy, but it's a lot easier after you get like the basics down. That's the
Yeah.
hardest part.
It's the basics, right? I'm trying
Yeah.
to get my fingers to, okay, why do I want to cramp up? Like, they're like, relax. And, you know,
Yep.
I feel like, hit me with a ruler, right? Make me relax. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. So, where are you touring currently?
So right now we just finished the summer tour, and then we are getting ready. We're doing some more Randy Travis shows
Nice.
later this month and next month, and then I'm going up to Canada in December for a few shows, and that's it for the rest of the year.
Do you get to be home with the family for the holidays?
Yes, I usually plan it that way. I don't really like to pass up any opportunities, of course, but I usually block off the holidays.
Yep, it's important for those kids too. That's
Yeah.
that's really great. Also, James, what's your social media for our viewers to find you?
I am at James Dupré. Very simple.
That easy. Okay. So they don't have to put a special your E that's got that little carrot. It's just
No, I left that off because it does get confusing for people, and it's just easier,
Yeah.
And thankfully, it's the same on all of my social media platforms, except for TikTok. I think I have a period in there somewhere, but
Okay.
yeah.
So do you still, I know that you're a professional singer, but do you still goof around on YouTube?
I do. Every now and then I do make a new video. I did some earlier this year, but I haven't since the summer. But yeah, I'm probably going to put up a few more. Yeah, coming up soon.
So we can get your YouTube channel and put it in our article so folks can follow you, right?
Yes, absolutely. That'd be great.
Cool. All right. So you got anything else to share with us?
Well, we're working on some new music.
Yay.
No studio dates yet, but hopefully next year maybe we'll be looking forward to some new music.
And maybe you can come out here to the West Coast one day, huh?
I would love it. I love the West Coast. I love the weather. I love everything.
You need to come out for that big festival we have called Stagecoach. And
yes, that would be nice.
Got to get yourself on that one. Well, we appreciate you taking the time from Louisiana to give us a call here at HollywoodTimes.today. We also have a YouTube channel, Hollywood Times Official. So we will be putting this all up for all of our viewers and listeners to find out all about you. So
awesome. Thank you very much.
Great holidays coming up with you and your family, and keep us posted if you need anything else from us.
All right. Sure will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks again.